In the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to teach your kids about sex, even if you feel too embarrassed to start. Let's go. And welcome back to Sitting in a Car. I'm Sarah Sproul, and I sit in a car with you each week, answering a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. Now, my answer to this question this week comes from pillar number 1 inside the Evolved Family Method. And that pillar helps us look at ourselves, our beliefs, the individuality of our kid, our particular upbringing, and the things that make us uniquely ourselves. And the idea is once we get really clear on all those things, we have a better understanding of how we can show up to have confident conversations about sensitive stuff in a way that draws our kids to us, builds connection with them, so we prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are there for them when times are tough or when they have questions about hard things. Now, what most courageous but tongue-tied parents will do is wait to feel maybe a little bit less embarrassed or a little bit worried about having a conversation with their kids about sex. And they imagine perhaps that if their child gets a bit older, they will feel better about this situation. But what they don't realize is if they don't talk, then their kid is going to find out this information from the internet or from some of their friends at school. When parents wait to have this conversation, sometimes they can feel anxious or worried that maybe they're not a good enough parent. They are somehow failing their child because they're not able to have this conversation that they know kids need to have with the adults who love them the most. Parents who have this problem may even feel worried that they've actually missed the boat completely, that they've waited too long and their child is now too old to have this conversation with them. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that exact problem and show you what you can do about your embarrassment, so you can talk to your kid about this sensitive conversation, that is the conversation about sex, so you will move from being a courageous tongue-tied parent over to be evolved communicating family. So, step 1, tell yourself that you are not a bad parent because you feel embarrassed and worried about doing this conversation. It's not your fault. You are simply going along with what you were shown as a child. The adults around you who may have had these conversations with you or tried to have these conversations with you could have been awkward and embarrassed themselves. Maybe you asked them a question and they weren't able to answer and they made you feel bad for asking that question. When you realize you are simply following a pattern that you were given when you were small, you will realize these feelings are not your fault. Here's one of the many ways we teach parents to get clear about their feelings inside the Evolve School. Think back to any memories you have of trying to ask an adult around you a question about something to do with sex. Can you remember how they responded to you? Or perhaps you have memories of not being able to ask questions because you felt too embarrassed or worried or shy about what the response would be. There is nothing wrong with you if you have had experiences like that, but it does prevent you from showing up for your kid and giving them the support that you want them to have that you didn't have growing up. Step 2, use strategies to calm your body down when you're feeling anxious or embarrassed about having a conversation like this. When you learn how to move your nervous system from feeling anxious, embarrassed, over to feeling calm and confident, you will have a strategy to use to prepare for a conversation like this with your kid. Here's how you do that. You need to find a supportive meditation teacher or therapist who is trained in the polyvagal theory, someone like me, who has the wide range of strategies, because we're in the business of trying to find the strategy that works best for you. There's a lot of people that the traditional breathing relaxation techniques do not work at all. So inside the Evolve School, we learn strategies to do with our hands and touching our body. So that could look something like this. Cradling your face in your hands like this. It's one way to bring our nervous system into a place where we feel ready to connect to another person. We feel in a state where we can learn something new. Right? And there are other places on our body that we can touch to that do similar things. And the idea is we are looking for the technique or the strategy that works best for you. Step number 3, you could find an alternative communication strategy that works best for your kid. There are heaps of ways that people can communicate with each other and share information that isn't just about talking, standing face to face. When you discover there are many different ways to communicate with your kid about these sensitive things, you'll be able to choose a strategy that feels better for you and works well for the individuality of your child. Here's how you do that. Think about all the different ways that you might have experienced communication or some sort of other information exchange with the people in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be with your child. Sitting in a car, for example, working in the same direction, packing the dishwasher, bath time. I remember a particular evening where I was lying on the floor in one of my kids' rooms because they needed me close to be able to go to sleep. And the room was very dark and peaceful. And we had a really lovely, comfortable conversations about genitals because we couldn't see each other. It was only the sounds of our voice. There are so many different and interesting ways to have conversations that aren't that traditional sit down, stare each other in the eyeballs sort of conversation that traditionally might have happened for this conversation in the past. Okay, so you've learned 3 different ways that you can start managing your embarrassment so you could have a conversation with your child about something sensitive like sex. You know what? These 3 steps are not going to do you any good though if you need more support or individual attention. And it's no problem if you're that sort of person. So many of us, these emotions are so deeply ingrained that it's not just a matter of getting tips from a podcast or a YouTube video. We need more help. So if you would like to learn strategies that work best for you to help you have calm, comfortable conversations with your kids about things to do with sex, find the link somewhere around this video or in the show notes if you're listening to the podcast. And I can let you know when the Evolve School opens its doors next. And that's Sitting in a Car for another week where I've answered a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. Bye for now. Okay, we can do this. There's no problem. No problem. We can do hard things like talk to our kids about sex. We can even record episodes of Sitting in a Car when we keep getting it wrong. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Let's start again because I just got an itchy head and itchy heads and sitting in a car doesn't look very professional, does it? Come on, Sarah. Stay focused. Stay focused. Okay, consider getting some help. You might need to find, start again.